Welcome back, YouTubers, to yet another Q&A with me, Mr. Parkin, and this guy sitting next to me is the one and only NJ.
What's up?
And we are two British boys that make up the British Fist.
Catching.
Of course. And we are on Q&A 226, and we're going to dive straight into your questions. No gilly-gallying the last 2 weeks. Renegade Man 83. Who is the face of the Attitude Era, The Rock or Stone Cold Steve Austin? This is a good question.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
I'll let you go first.
I think when you hear about it, we've said this in past videos, like when they did the special Raw, we were expecting Austin to be there because we say he made the Attitude Era. But in my opinion, because of the things he could bring, they didn't have a problem with turning face or heel. He brought it in any way possible. I'm saying The Rock.
You see, I'm going to have to disagree with you there. I'm going to have to say Stone Cold Steve Austin, and it's mainly due to the fact that the whole reason why the Attitude Era was so popular to start with, and there wouldn't really be an Attitude Era, without the Vince McMahon versus Stone Cold Steve Austin feud. The Rock did many good things for the WWF back in the Attitude Era. At one point when Austin was out, he was the biggest babyface they had. Even when Austin was there, he was probably the biggest babyface they had. But I think if it wasn't for Vince McMahon versus Stone Cold Steve Austin and that feud in the Attitude Era, it would never have picked up as it did. In fact, in my opinion, Vince McMahon was probably the biggest star of that Attitude Era. I mean, you had Vince McMahon, Stone Cold Steve Austin, they feuded. When The Rock went to the corporation with Vince McMahon, that elevated him. Vince McMahon had so many essential roles to play in that company at the time. I'd say Rock and Austin were the biggest babyfaces, but the biggest star of the Attitude Era could arguably be Vince McMahon. Biggest heel ever.
Give it that, yes.
Pretty much. Thoughts on EC3 becoming TNA champion, and do you think it will hurt the company? Yeah, I think the fact they've actually built up their own star, I mean, he was the pre-WWE, but he didn't do anything in WWE. The fact they've built up their own star over the last 2 years or so, and actually built him up to become TNA champion, is something we've been wanting for TNA for some time. A lot of people are EC3 fans and enjoyed him being TNA champion. The only problem is, they've done this at the wrong time. They've done this at a time when people don't give a shit about TNA anymore. When only 200,000 to 300,000 people are viewing the product on a weekly basis, as opposed to, say, 1 to 2 million that they probably could have had on Skype. Not Skype, Spike. I don't know where I got that one from. But it isn't going to hurt the company. I think they've just done it at the wrong time, and it's hurt EC3, in my opinion.
With me, I love EC3. There was the Rockstar Spud thing. I think the Rockstar Spud thing is what got me to be an EC3 fan more than beforehand. With this, I don't think it's done anything bad to the company, because the company, no matter what's happened to TNA, they have to go on. And during that have to go on time, they're not going to just stick with Bobby Roode, Kurt Angle, James Storm. They're going to look at other wrestlers. And the fact during this continued time, they look at EC3, entertaining character, Dixie Carter involvement and family and stuff. I think it was absolutely brilliant. And for the fans who still watch TNA, it gave them enjoyment each and every week.
By the way, James Storm has officially left TNA.
He has now, yeah.
Yeah, you knew that. To NJ, what is your reaction of the NXT Divas appearing at Raw? This happened some months ago now, but the NXT Divas appearing on Raw, what did it do for you? Straight
away, you have the fans straight away trying to defend it.
Yep.
Because Stephanie McMahon was also in their corner.
Should have been Triple H.
Me, I just did not believe this, because I'm like, yes, they're NXT Divas, yes, they're talented and stuff, but it's still the WWE, the same writers, the same kind of concept going with them. So I personally liked bringing in 3. That's 3 new divas, more new feuds. But I weren't really expecting change.
I mean, I was a fan of bringing NXT Divas in. I just didn't know about bringing them in as a team. I mean, if you're going to bring them in as a team, have them be the NXT Divas. Have them be in a team together. Don't have, Sasha Banks in a team with 2 other divas and Paige and Charlotte on a team with some, don't do that. Have them all in a team if you're going to do that. I'd rather have just them been brought in individually and build them up that way. But like NJ said, I mean, at the end of the day, yeah, it was great to see the NXT Divas on Raw. They've had some new matches. They've had some good matches. You know, whatever, better than we had before. You know, the standards weren't exactly high. But at the end of the day, still the same old Divas division with zero stories and, oh, Paige cut a pipe bomb. Ooh, great.
Tag matches.
That's going to bring interest. I mean, I'm a fan of Paige, but they just don't have much to work with. At least in NXT, they were treated important. At least in NXT, you know, they were made to look like they were an important part of the show, and they had storylines and, you know, characters. And Triple H is obviously a big fan of these divas. But as soon as you bring them to WWE, it's pretty typical WWE, isn't it? You bring something that was good in NXT, transfer it to WWE, and then they don't really seem to put much effort into it.
To be honest, I at first in the back of my mind could see what the WWE could have done.
Yeah.
Like, got rid of the tag matches, just concentrate on pure brilliance of feuds with all three divas. But instead, the amount of tag matches we've had since they came in has been exactly the same before they came in. So, to me, they've gone down a route that is just same old.
Is Cesaro underrated? Very much so. I mean, I don't think Cesaro is going to be like a main eventer or anything like that. Oh, okay, we don't think Cesaro could be...
No, it's just in 5 languages. But
oh, sorry. I thought you meant we as in me and you, and I was speaking on your behalf. What really changes, you know, to be honest, MJ? I'm only joking. And Cesaro underrated, yeah. But at the end of the day, I don't really see the guy standing out. I mean, obviously, he's a very good wrestler. You know, he's very powerful. He's very strong. But at the end of the day, I can't see this guy in a main event and, you know, being like the guy that people think, that people point to and go, yes, he's the man. That's just, I don't think that's ever going to happen. And, you know, I do think Cesaro is underrated, but I think they're very limited in what they can actually do with him. Yeah, let's stick him in a match, probably stick him in a feud, but there are so many people out there that you'd have go over Cesaro that it's just kind of like he's just going to tread water.
I find this terrible because we mentioned this in the last Q&A. The WWE have wrestlers who fans latch onto quite quickly. Yes, he went from WrestleMania into a tag team with Tyson Kidd, which was over, but not as over as he was at WrestleMania. So I think the WWE, Cesaro is another example of you have someone here that could make it. You have him against John Cena, put on great matches. But for some reason, you see these great matches and you overlook it because either you've got other more important people to look at, or you just don't know really how to write for these wrestlers that fans are liking. I just find it really sad that Cesaro, even without Tyson Kidd, he's still not seeming to get the right booking that's going to put him in a higher place.
I just think it's difficult for him to be put in a storyline. I mean, I can't really see a storyline where he would prosper. I mean, as a babyface, I don't really think he could be an underdog because he's too strong. As a heel, I don't really see him being a total arse to the point where he's going to get booed. I just think WWE struggle to find. I mean, it's down to the writers. Don't get me wrong, but I think WWE struggle to find a storyline to put him in, which is probably why they don't do it.
I could agree to an extent, but at the same time, the fact you've had him against John Cena a few times now.
Not really in a storyline though, was it?
It could have been. They could have built something up that, like Cesaro's almost beat John Cena, and they build off that Cesaro feels that he can do it. And you actually go through a feud there.
But then Cesaro would have to be the babyface over John Cena, and you know WWE are never going to do that.
Well, there's many, like he's even gone off and had some moments with Randy Orton. I think there's been matches where something could have came from it, but the WWE only put that match on, like the Ziggler statement you said. They just put Cesaro in a match because they know it's going to be a great match. You know Cesaro is going to shine in the match.
Then we can work with anyone.
Yes, instead of thinking we could build it with these two wrestlers.
He's always going to be the dance partner, never the focus. Basically like Dolph Ziggler. If he goes to TNA, will he prosper and will he be a big blow for WWE? It won't be a big blow for WWE because they could just bring the guy out from NXT and just like a Sami Zayn and put him in a mid card spot and say, yeah, you go out and have some good matches. Would he be successful in TNA? Yeah, probably. I think TNA would do a lot more with him. I think he suits the TNA brand a lot more, and I think he could be like a main eventer in TNA. I think TNA would put more effort into him, knowing that he'd previously been with the WWE and that he does have quite a big fanfare in the independent scene, etc.
I think Cesaro going to TNA will be a quite saddening thing, because even though NXT's bringing up new wrestlers, Cesaro has done good things during his time on the main roster. He's got his fan base. Fans are still behind him, wanting to see better from him. So if he goes off to TNA without fulfilling what he could be doing in WWE, I think there will be a sudden saddening effect. There will be a WWE have missed out on something big here, something good here.
What should WWE do for the next Royal Rumble so people can end up being happy, and who should win it? I don't think there's any. Apart from Daniel Bryan winning the Royal Rumble, yes. There's no, you're never going to make the people happy. You have someone new win it, Roman Reigns. They shit on it. You have John Cena win it. They shit on that as well. Who else can they have win it at this moment in time that's going to be a realistic opponent in the main event of WrestleMania? Because that's what the Royal Rumble is now. You can no longer put the Royal Rumble winner in the opening match at WrestleMania. They're pretty much going to, most of the time, be the main event or in a top match at WrestleMania. So you've got to pick a big talent for that. You can't just pick a Sheamus, or you can't just pick a Seth Rollins or a Dolph Ziggler. They have to build someone. I mean, I don't know who would win the Royal Rumble this year. Who could they have win it?
This is what we've been saying for this Q&A before. All the guys that fans latch on to get somewhat good booking, and they suddenly lose it. The only one that I can see right now, if they continue the booking they're doing recently, is Bray Wyatt.
Yeah, I mean, it's like Roman Reigns. They had him face Batista, and him and Batista were the last two. He got massively cheered. And then the next year, he's massively booed. And it's like, you're just never, ever going to make these people happy. So, I just wonder why WWE even bother anymore. So, there's Roman, fuck it. Roman Reigns, have him win it again. Have him win the championship this time. God. Ebro S, what was your favourite moment in pro wrestling history in the last 5 years? I can think of a few.
I'll say one.
One.
I'm going to say Kevin Owens beating John Cena.
Yes! Oh, you would say that. Two that spring out to mind in the last 5 years, wrestling has been a bit void of memorable moments. But CM Punk winning the WWE Championship, Money in the Bank 2011 was a memorable moment.
GX NWO WrestleMania.
Oh, yeah, God. Daniel Bryan winning the WWE Championship at WrestleMania 30. That's another favourite moment in pro wrestling history in the last 5 years. I mean, that technically does include 2010, so I will say the Nexus. Favourite moments.
Yeah.
It didn't really end up very well, but it was still a favourite moment. Can you think of any other moments in the last sort of 5 years that stand out to you?
Dudley Boys. I think that was just a great pop to see them back in. A tag team that actually liked and could bring in some good stuff.
Tell us some of yours.
Yes.
Like I said, we're kind of on the spot, thinking about these questions, and it can be kind of difficult. If you guys have a bit of time to think about it, put it in the comment section, please. RFE089, 3 questions. NJ, what 90s action movie do you prefer? The Rock, Con Air, or Point Break? I have never heard of any of those.
Con Air, I love the entertainment in that, and Nicolas Cage. There's been a few good movies with him in, but Con Air, the comedy in this. So I'm going to say straight away Con Air.
This next question, how much money have you made off making YouTube videos? I'm not sure if we can really disclaim that. I will say this, though. At one point, we were making a decent amount of money to the point where we did actually consider it a second job. Close to a second job, anyway. But we can't. I don't really want to disclose that.
I'll answer this. It's put quite easily, and it's put like this: millions of dollars. I thought
you were going to go money.
Yeah.
Money.
Yeah. Money.
Because we're clearly rich.
Money.
It says a lot about the channel when the new webcam we got that was supposed to be better is worse, doesn't it, than the last one we had, which was like a cheap one that we bought, or you bought. Money. Yeah, we're well in the money, people.
Money.
And now we probably get about $2-3 a month. Great. How stupid are TNA to plan an invasion angle with a company who doesn't even have a television deal? Oh, don't get me started.
There's some stupidity. The only one compliment is the eyes then partly went over to Global Force because wrestlers started from leaving TNA going to Global Force. Because Global Force is the future. Of course, you want to put eyes on.
What eyes? They don't have a TV deal.
Well, when they go into Destination America, and because eventually I'm sure Destination America will take them.
I just think this was. I mean, we know why this was done now. It was because Jeff Jarrett had a minority stake in the company, and they wanted him to give up that minority stake. So Dixie Carter, I believe, Dixie Carter could own the whole company, and that's the only reason why it was done. I don't think. I mean, it was lose-lose for TNA. They were allowing a company to compete with them that didn't have a fucking TV deal. I mean, how stupid does that sound? How minor league does that make your company look? Yeah, here comes this company. You know, even when it was ECW, you know, going against Raw, at least I believe they had a TV deal at the time. They had pay-per-views and stuff, so at least they had eyeballs on their product that could help. And by going on WWE, they could expand their product, and WWE could take ECW's talent. So at least that was good for both companies. But where is this benefiting TNA? Have they got an increase in ratings? No. Have they got new talent out of this? No. Have they, you know, got a TV deal out of this? You know, a better TV deal? No. It's not going to benefit TNA in any way. It's only going to benefit GFW, small, you know, very minorly, really. That's all I've got to say about that. MMMM, literally just 4 M's. Is Roman Reigns finally ready to win the title? I feel they can't give it back to Lesnar as he's booked too much into a corner with feuds, and Rollins' reign is just terrible and too authority reliant, and Sheamus as a champ would pretty much suck. There's no one else Cena drop US belt and wins the WWE Championship because LOL Cena wins. Yeah, I mean, I think he is the next one to give it to. I mean, they had him win the Royal Rumble last year and nearly win the title and kind of get screwed out of the title. And I think next year it will be that point where they will put that belt on Roman Reigns. And I don't think he's necessarily ready for it, but he's been lurking around in the mid-card and the reactions have been getting a bit better, I think. So I think it's pretty much time to give him the title. Whether he's ready or not is another question. We'll find that out when he has the belt. But I think that definitely is the next person to give it to, in my opinion.
I still think it's destiny to happen, you know, Roman Reigns to become champion. I'm still not a Roman Reigns fan. But, like, if anyone, I think Bray Wyatt is up there. I don't see why Sheamus would cash in and lose. I think passing it to him for Roman Reigns to face Sheamus. I don't know how they're going to do it, but I think Roman Reigns, even though he's in the mid-card, I don't like him, I still think he's going to bounce to go to that shot.
Michael Murray, do you think Raw would be good these days if Bischoff was still in charge? I miss hearing I'm back. For me, it was more entertaining as a GM/writer. He was good as a GM, but I don't think it would work now. Because if he would have been GM from 2003 to now, and it would have been it would have just, even for the biggest fans, it would have got boring. So I don't think it would be. I mean, I don't think it would be good if Bischoff was still in charge. I just think it would be kind of like the same old shit. And even as a writer, I mean, he did the NWO angle, and what else? You know, Paul Heyman did a lot of good writing for SmackDown. All I remember from Bischoff is HLA, Hot Lesbian Action, which was just a cheap plug to try and get 18 to 34. Chamber. Well, there's the Elimination Chamber as well, I suppose. But that's what I remember of Eric Bischoff.
I think Bischoff, back in when he was the GM, the writers were doing the right thing because Bischoff got involved in many parts of the show, not just the main event scene. He got involved in everything. So I think, to be honest, as much as I love Bischoff, I think they could bring the same quality out of another GM if they allowed the GM figure to get involved in many parts of the show and just full out be a arse to numerous wrestlers.
But I wouldn't let Bischoff anywhere near a wrestling ring now, but there you go. That's been another Q&A. The next set of questions we'd ask is quite long, so we'll save that for the next Q&A, but we hope you enjoyed this one.
this one's been a laugh, and we enjoy answering your questions because at the same time we share a few opinions on what's going on within the company. But from Mr. Parkins sitting right
Even
here,
though I don't watch it,
and me and Jay sitting right here, we would just like to say thank you very much for watching, and until next time, YouTubers, goodbye.